when I said that, and I was literally in tears because I just told them about the problem that we have. This is COVID, and it's a worldwide issue.
When it comes to challenges, maybe at first I look at challenges as something that you stay away from, you try to avoid, But right now, you look at challenges as something that you want to. It's not something that you want, but it's something that is going to be there. But it's my responsibility to face them head on.
So, but today I was looking at the anniversary list of all the team members in Chillibreeze, and I found that this month, I don't know the date, but you will be completing your 16 years. Okay. Oh, that's a long time.
It is a long time, yeah.
And I think I will be completing my 14, and I think there is a two years gap.
2 years gap.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember you took my interview as well. And I remember that specific moment of me being very, very nervous in the interview. Do you remember that, Bhakti?
Yeah, I remember, when you came in, I remember there was one person I know who referred you and sharing that, there's one person who's working with that company with him, and then he is very creative, and, so he should be in Chillibreeze, not with, with them. So I still remember that. I remember the part where we took interview along with Ralph and James. Yeah, I think it was in 2005 when Chillibreeze started in Shillong. I was working with a different company, and I still remember, Ralph came and, he wanted to set up, and I was working with a different company. And then, through that company, through the CEO of that company, Chillibreeze started in one room. Okay, with two people. I was there. I was working with that company, and I helped Chillibreeze, set up the internet and other things requirement. And then it was only in 2008 when I joined, March 2008 when I joined Chillibreeze. So at that time I was looking after IT, admin, HR, and any other thing outside, like for example with banks, all that. So I was handling all of that. These different departments. I was the person responsible for that. What about you?
So basically, I started my journey in Chillibreeze with I would say zero. Let me just put it that way, so that I think I get a lot of questions asked from a lot of people as well. Like looking at when people look at me now and the roles that I'm playing now, they were curious what is my qualification and all that. And I think it kind of works as a very good example and story, where I started in Chillibreeze basically with nothing, but then Chillibreeze gave me the opportunity to learn so many things. I remember learning with Basain Bor and Suresh on graphic designing. And then along with James, we learned PowerPoint and started learning, going in depth to the fundamentals and principles of design. And then I remember in just about a year, I got pulled into web designing and taking care of our websites. And then I think after being in that team and looking after our websites, learning at the same time, I also learned so many other things about designing, even back at home with my own time. And then eventually after the fourth or fifth year, if I'm not mistaken, Chillibreeze decided to open up new service, which is the creative service. And I fortunately, I'm really grateful till date that I was given the opportunity to lead that team as well. And then we are able to serve our customers with beyond PowerPoint service. We started serving our customers with video editing, motion graphic, and posters and logos and all sorts of creative stuffs. And then fast forward, I guess after about 3-4 years in 2019, another opportunity opens up where we, as a company, decided to open up a new branch in a different location, in a different state outside of Meghalaya, which is Mizoram. And it was an interesting journey. There's a lot of ups and downs, of course.
Right. When you mentioned that, even for me, Fanai, I still remember, like, with, IT was there, admin was there, HR was there. And then I still remember when we ventured into, spices with Zezera and all that. So I was part of the team. So I was involved with, even farmers, processing, learning all of that. And at the same time, if you remember, we also started the chicken wagon, so involved. I still remember when we set up, a table in called Fling, and selling fried chicken over there. So we did the battering. It was all hands on, So like you mentioned, there's so much of. I'm going to be 16 years in Chillibreeze, but the amount of learning and knowledge that I've gained in Chillibreeze, like it's humongous,
Some of the biggest struggles and hardship, I think you probably have a lot of those, especially with, let's say, agitations, and it could be with people as well. What would be, I mean, from your side, what would be the most difficult part when in your journey?
To begin with, Fanai, when I came in Chillibreeze, I think my first challenge was setting up all these requirements of the company in terms of, in different government offices like SIC, Provident Fund, even in the banks. Some of the things we were doing was very new to the banks in Shillong, in fact, in Northeast. So they had to get a lot of guidance from Bangalore and Mumbai, So those were like, it took us, it was really challenging in the sense that, it was new. We had to do the setup, and we were totally a different company in how we operate and all that. So that was like, I would say, the first challenge. And then the next one would be like, multitasking, because I was looking after IT, admin, and HR. I still remember I share stories with the team right now, like, when you are, when you have to work, for example, in the IT or the admin, there are things that we do that we need to do either after the staff have left for the day or on holiday, There was this, throughout my journey, there had been certain months where, I would be working for the whole month. There was no break, because on one Sunday we had, LAN cabling to it. And then the next one was like about wiring next Sunday. So there'll be months like I was working nonstop, because I was one person, So multitasking, all of that, it's, I would say it's challenge, but it was challenging, but then it was something that I love to do as well. So, those are there. And I think, I'm not sure if you remember, Fanai, as well, is that in terms of infrastructure, like internet, we had dial-up at that time, when you have to connect to the internet, like it's like through the phone, right? It was dial-up, and it takes so much of time. I don't think if we share this to anyone right now, they would be able to connect with that. So I still remember that, if you remember that story, like, where we didn't have internet for the whole week. That was very challenging. Why? Because, imagine now, like, we are connected to the internet 24/7, right? It's very rare that internet goes down. At that time, we had one line, right? We had one line, and then we didn't have any backup. So when the internet goes out, it was like for a week. And then we had to figure out, okay, how do we, get the work from the customers? And then when we're done with the work, how do we send the work back to the customers? And then even infrastructure-wise, in terms of, if you look at electricity and all that, right now we have like, really strong UPS and backup generators, all that. But at that time we didn't have. So that was a challenge then as well. And like you mentioned, Fanai, like, in those time, definitely like in these 16 years, challenges like, law and order, then, we had those burn and curfews and all that. So, being able to figure out how to, like the staff for our team members to be able to work without any, disturbance, without any breakdown. Those were some of the challenges that I really, we really fought through.
Your challenges and the struggles that you have faced, Batadi, I have heard of that multiple times from my end. And in fact, those challenges that you've faced, it's my biggest inspiration as I went through my set of struggles as well. Like when we started in Aizol, it's like I kind of felt like I relieved the struggles that you have, and it makes me so much stronger, I would say. Where like the things you said about dealing with the government office and then the infrastructures, electricity, internet, it was really, really challenging. And especially when you set up a new branch, it's almost like setting up a new company all over again, and people doesn't know, and there is a skepticism about company altogether, and you have to go through a lot of things. And if I have to highlight some of the most challenging part for me would be when we started Aizol, when we opened up a branch, and immediately we were followed by the COVID,
Right.
And COVID started in the third month, if I'm not mistaken. We started recruitment in the month of November in 2019, and then we started doing the walk-in interview, and the training started on January 2020. And March 2020 came, COVID started, and I remember specifically the Prime Minister of India announced it on the national news that it's a complete lockdown. And in deep down, I'm really devastated. Like, I don't know what to think. It's like, is this the end of Aizol? Even Chillibreeze as a whole, because we heard news about a lot of companies closing down because of the situations, and the team that we have in Aizol were like just in the training stage.
Right.
And I wasn't sure if the company is going to have the bandwidth to like keep them in a company, because they were still in the training.
Right.
And I just talked to the team, and this is part of my biggest challenge. At the same time, the biggest motivational part for my journey as well, where the trainees from Aizol, I just told them about the problem that we have. This is COVID, and it's a worldwide issue where everyone is in lockdown. What do we do? When I said that, and I was literally in tears, because this I'll just name out few where we have Zoa with us right now, Amtea, Elisa, and then Sangsanga. These guys were like, they just said, okay, we'll go and pack and come back. I didn't expect that from people. It was COVID and people all ran home, like they wanted to stay at home. But these guys just packed their bag and comes in, and they were like staying in the office for the whole time during COVID. And especially someone like Sangsang and Zoa, they were like, without them, I think the Aizol branch would not exist today, because they were through thick and thin, and with all the compliances and all the rules and regulations, I would say, that is set forth for people to follow. They didn't, I don't know, for lack of a better word, they didn't check it out. Basically, they just soldier on, and they just push on, and they make it happen. I am really appreciative of that, and I would say that in the entire part of my journey, that was one of the biggest challenge, I would say, that I would never forget. What would it be for you, Batali?
When COVID happened, Fanai, I was sharing the story right now, even with a few team members, that if you look back at that, at that time, there were a lot of uncertainty. There were a lot of misinformation. There was a lot of things that even the families were not, they were really scared, right? So the first thing that came to our mind at the time was, how do we serve our customers without any disturbance, without any breakdown, So the team, in fact, the whole company rallied together, and we had, in fact, to some extent, we were, prepared to some extent in advance for that kind of situation. We had set up for some people from home to work from home. So when COVID happened, we figured out a way, because like we always do, we find solution, we figured out a way, and we make it happen, where we got these inverters for nearly all our team members who are ready to work, so we got all of these inverters for our staff, and then we set up at home, internet and all that, and team members started working from home, so even till today, I am still discussing with team members that if you were to look back, when COVID happened, is that we were more, the challenge for us is, the focus was like, how do we serve our customers, without any disturbance, without any breakdown. We were not focused on COVID, So like you mentioned, that we had team members who were staying from the office. We had team members who went out. I think we were one of the very few people who were out. We got permission, from the government, where we, because we went to the office. Some of us were from the office. Some of us were making preparation. Most of us were working from home. But like you mentioned, even for me, I felt like, all our team members, like you mentioned, they didn't, everyone was running home, right? But our team was not doing that. They were thinking all about the customer, So I still remember that. It definitely is one of, I would say, the most challenging, and we didn't know. It was very unpredictable at that time,
Right. I would say it's a true test of how resilient are we. How much thick skin do we have as an individual and as a company all together. And with all the struggles that I think, apart from all the struggles that we personally face, I guess there is a lot more struggles that I think the company is going through as well, with people, with the customers in itself, the quality that we need to provide to the customers. I think through all these things, out of all the struggles that we've faced, I'm sure you must have one. For me, the biggest thing that I realize out of all this struggle is that it makes me so much more stronger, not just as an employee of the company, but as a father for my children, as a husband, and then as a son for my mom, and as a brother for my sisters. It's like I didn't realize this until recently, how strong it have built me in times of struggles, even as a family. There are ups and downs everywhere in all our life, but I think all these struggles that we went through as a company, with all these situations, it's a true test of our resilience, and it before you know it, it makes you so much more stronger as an individual. So I think that would be the biggest highlight for me out of all these struggles.
Yeah, even for me, Fanai, like you mentioned, the more we are challenged, I feel like individually and as a company, we became more resilient, more determined, and then it also humbles us. I'm really thankful to all of these challenges, because why, it really humbles me. It really humbles all of us as a company, and then at the same time it makes us so mature.
Right.
So all of these we learn what to do, what not to do. It was what we thought was the right thing to do then. When you look back now, it was not a very good thing to to do, something like that. So you learn from these mistakes.
Sometimes I would call it a blessing in disguise. Like at the moment it's very difficult, but I think once we overcome those things, it always makes a person strong.
Okay. With all of these challenges, Fanai, one thing that I realized is that at first, when I faced the first challenge in Chillibreeze, I was really worried. Okay, and I'm not saying that I'm not worried now. I do worry till now, and I lose a lot of sleep. But at that time, I felt like I won't be able to find a solution. But the thing is that when we overcame and resolved one issue or one challenge, it gives us a lot of confidence for next one. So that's how it's been going. Okay, next one, when you resolve two, then you became more confident for the third one, and so on and so forth. So that's how I also learned through these challenges.
Mm-hmm. I 100% agree with you on that, Battery, because a lot of people ask me, especially now that we have opened up the branch in Aizawl, and there are so many youths who are interested in Chillibreeze. They keep asking me, how was it like in the beginning for you? And then there will be young parents, who are married also at a very young age, just like me, who wanted to be part of Chillibreeze, but then they wanted to learn from someone like me, who already went through that journey a lot. And one of the things that they always ask, which I always respond, is that how do you cope up with the family and everything? And I thought that was a very interesting question that a lot of people ask. I would say that is one big part of the challenge, and I think especially in our region, and considering the kind of customers that we're serving globally, one of my biggest challenges that shapes me to who I am today would be the amount of hard work and efforts and time that you put into learning what you need to learn. I think this is something that a lot of people find it difficult, at least to my experience, and a lot of questions that people ask as well. It takes, in the beginning, I was really scared, to be honest, about the day when I joined Chillibreeze, because I passed my class 12. I have no educational background in terms of computers or technology. I basically have zero ideas on that, And then when I said yes to the commitment that Ralph asked, I'm very nervous, and my nervousness is not because I I'm not sure if I can commit. I'm very sure I can commit, but I'm not sure if I will be able to learn all the needs like technology, graphic designing, and all those things, right? That makes me nervous. And by the day, I know your responsibility in the company is quite big as well. Like, how does it help you with all this experience and challenges? How did they help you in your everyday professional life as well?
I think professionally and personally, these challenges, they really, one thing that I've shared is they really humbles me because it's through these, like you realize that, okay, as you go on and then, it not only humbles me, Fanai, but at the same time, I feel like it makes me more mature. I learn a lot. I definitely learn a lot, so, and it matures. You know what you need to do, what you don't need to do. So it matures in your understanding as well. So in your case, Fanai, how does the challenges help you?
I think it makes me so much more stronger. For lack of a better word, I would say it helps me grow a very thick skin because dealing with problems, it takes a lot of grit and determination combined with thick skin to be able to face those problems, But if I had not experienced any of those challenges and learning, I would have like easily given up, because those challenges are not something that you can just tick off. It has to do with people. It has to do with emotions. It has to do with people's life as well, in their career. So I think I'm glad that I have gone through those challenges. Actually, it does really help me in that manner.
One thing for me, I realized, Fanai, is that a change of mindset as well.
Right.
When it comes to challenges, maybe at first, I look at challenges as something that you stay away from, you try to avoid, But right now, you look at challenges as something that you want to, it's not something you want, but it's something that is going to be there, but it's my responsibility to face them head on. So, I look at it from that perspective. It's a mindset change for me, Do you look at it from that perspective as well?
Definitely. I think if I have to describe growth as well, I would look at it that way. Like when you say growth, the way I see it might be very different because maturity, wisdom, the ability to deal with problems and situations that is in front of us without shying away, without just quitting. I think the ability to do that through all these struggles, I think I would define that as a very big part of growth, at least. What about you, Bhadadi?
Definitely for me as well, Fanai. I use this a lot even when we're discussing with the team and when facing challenges and we know that as a company, being situated in Northeast India, we, in fact, any company for that matter, so we always discuss this. When the going gets tough, the tough gets going.
Right.
So we keep on going no matter what, So that's how we develop resilience. That's how we develop grit, and the determination to never give up, So I feel like though, and at the same time, one of the main thing I learned through challenges as well, it's like, a growth, if you look at it from that perspective as well, is that, you learn to troubleshoot. You figure out, okay, in such a situation, what do you do? It's never been, for example, if you look at COVID, I'm not sure if I've, in Chillibreeze, we also had a DDoS attack, and you remember the website was attacked,
Yeah.
And we didn't know. It was like, okay, I was part of the team. I didn't know much, but then through all of those, we learn a lot. If you just shared about COVID as well, right? We learn a lot. We learn about how to handle those situations, how to troubleshoot the situation, and how to come out of that, So the more, when we come out of that, it makes us stronger. It makes us, like you said, wiser, and more mature.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you on that. And then, Bhadadi, I really enjoyed catching up with you, talking about this journey that we had, shared together as well. And especially for me, you are one of the person that I think you have been in Chillibreeze for, it's going to be 16 years, and then it's going to be 14 years for me, and we have 2 years gap, and we had a crazy ride together, I would say, together. But it's such a great journey together. I felt that that's going to help the company. That's going to help us as a company for many more to come in Chillibreeze. And personally, I felt like our purpose as a company is coming to life more and more. I see that in real life happening right now. So I'm more than grateful that I'm a part of that, that journey.
True. And for me, when you look at growth, Fanai, if you were to look at how would I define my growth? How would you define your growth? I would look at it at the impact that we have. How are we impacting? How am I impacting others? And how am I impacting the life of people? What is the ripple that I'm creating? Both professionally and personally. I have all the support of my family, my mom and dad. It's because of the impact that I'm having professionally and also personally. And the ripple. So that I would define that as a growth.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. A ripple. I think we've heard that many times in Chillibreeze, and I think that is so true. So, but it has been very interesting to go back to our journey together, and I'm quite curious. After 16 years, what do you have in mind looking forward? In Chillibreeze or your career altogether as well?
Hey, I still remember when I shared. Chillibreeze started with 2 people in a room. Right now we are more than 250 people, and we are in Shillong, we are in Aizawl, we are in Kohima. Personally, for me, I've seen how Chillibreeze impact the lives of people, impact the lives of those the team members working I work with, impacting the families, impacting even influencing the community. So I'm looking more of that. I still remember, when I shared with Ralph that, okay, we're going to be a company with 50 people or 100 people. It was hard to imagine at a time because we're like more than maybe around 15 people, But then for us, when we started reaching 50 or 100 people, and now more than 250 people, it's not just the numbers, but the impact that we have on people's life, the growth, the development, providing them a purpose, and also impacting the family and community. That is what I'm looking forward to.
I'm on the same page with you, I guess, Teddy, because for me, after 14 years, and the first dream that I developed being in Chillibreeze is to become a world-class graphic designer.
I still remember that.
And I think after 13 years, soon to be 14 years, I felt like that dream did came true. But I also realized at the same time that there is a whole lot more journey that I can cover. And through Chillibreeze and through this comparative advantage that I have, I'm sharing the same journey with you, where through the work that we do in Chillibreeze, we are impacting the lives of many people. And particularly for me, with my comparative advantage, I felt like what more I can do is through that skills and capability and knowledge that I have gained to become a graphic designer. I think as graphic designing being part of the core service that we have as a company, I felt like I can have impact to many youths and to many families through this work that I am doing right now. So I'm really glad and happy to hear the future is so big for us, I guess. So it was really nice getting up with you today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
Thank you.